proves, having a few more chances is always a good thing. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.
When do we get to protest? No, seriously, when do law-abiding citizens who want to live a peaceful life, go to work, raise a family, feel safe when they go to the mall and safe in their own homes, when do we get to have a voice? I think most God-fearing, law-abiding people in our community are starting to get a bit tired of the daily rhetoric on the news and in our streets. I know we are. Take, for example, the tragic officer-involved shooting at St. Anne's Hospital this week. Tragic because we are taught and believe any life is valuable, and the loss of that life at a young age is something we should all mourn regardless as to how they lived that life. But let's be honest. Mr. Miles Jackson was a menace to society. One might conclude a career criminal. Just listen to his arrest record that accumulated every year since turning an adult in 2012. Twice arrested for resisting arrest. Once for misconduct at an emergency scene. Twice arrested for misdemeanor theft. 5 charges for criminal mischief. 4 charges for felony drug abuse. 1 charge for trafficking in drugs. 7 charges for possession of a controlled substance. 3 arrests for domestic violence. 3 arrests for assault. Arrest for obstruction of justice. An arrest for failure to comply. 1 for fleeing and eluding. 13 times charged with driving under suspension, an arrest for having a weapon as a felon, an arrest for felony robbery with physical harm, an arrest for felony cocaine possession, and an aggravated menacing arrest. This week, after an apparent overdose in Westerville, Mr. Jackson was able to not only conceal a handgun, which he was not legally able to possess because of his prior convictions, but he then shot several times at 2 Columbus officers in the ER while they were patting him down to take him into custody for warrants. He later fired another round at officers before being shot and killed by officers from CPD and St. Anne's Security. On that day, Mr. Jackson made a choice to take drugs. Mr. Jackson made a choice to illegally conceal a firearm. Mr. Jackson made a choice to not comply with commands from officers. Mr. Jackson made a choice to shoot at officers, not just once, but on 2 occasions, even after being told 85 times to put his hands in plain sight. But even in this situation, totally controlled by the actions of Miles Jackson, we have protests. We have family members demanding answers, and according to the news, criticizing police. It is just like they have a license to kill, one said, referring to law enforcement. He goes on to state to Channel 6, you are all supposed to protect and to serve. When we come outside our homes, we're scared of the police because they're killing us. Sir, with all due respect and sincerity, and I mean this, if you are a person with warrants, if you are a career criminal with a violent past, if you choose to carry a firearm illegally, and if you choose not to obey commands from law enforcement, sir, you should be scared. Very scared, because almost without exception, every one of the officer-involved shootings throughout our country has had these underlying elements. It is the truth. If Miles Jackson would have complied, he'd be alive. If Dante Wright would have complied, he'd be alive. If George Floyd would have complied, he would be alive. It is certainly a pattern we cannot ignore, but we continue to do so. So I ask again, when do we get to protest? When do the families of these officers who've been put through a life or death situation at the hands of a criminal get to protest because their lives are now never going to be the same? When do the innocent businesses get to protest that their poor stores get looted every time someone thinks an injustice has occurred? When do we get to protest? When asked to comment on the shooting, our own mayor pushed the false narrative as expected, and it goes unchallenged in the complicit media. We share the frustrations over police killings of unarmed black men and support nonviolent protest, Ginther stated. Mr. Mayor, did you not see the video? Or let me guess. Police planted a gun in Mr. Jackson's drawers to give them a reason to shoot him, right? Is that what it is? Do you not have advisors showing you the facts? But this ignorance is at all levels and is going unchecked. I spoke to a local reporter this week about this case, and they showed sympathy for yet another young life lost, as we all felt. But as a sign that we still have so far to go, they asked if there somehow could have been an alternative to shooting Mr. Jackson. All of them police wear body armor, right? He stated. Yes, sir, they do, I responded. Why couldn't they just rush in and tackle him? Sir, you mean tackle him while he held a gun out ready to kill any one of them if given the opportunity? Do you think that is what officers should seriously do? We have so far to go still to save our community. It's going to take all of us. But again, I ask, when is it our turn to protest?
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. He sits to my left.